Formula 1 returns to one of the most daunting circuits on the calendar, the Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. The track which in recent years has been a good hunting ground for Alfa Romeo, although with the recent Ferrari engine nerf, both cars will have to run at maximum low drag, much like what Red Bull will be doing. Once again, the Asian new design cars run with a lot of drag in mind, and the Honda power unit, despite being much improved from last season, still isn't pumping out the ultimate power that the team will be hoping for, but they're not going to design a car around a number of races. They're going to have to find a good compromise this weekend. The straight line speed is something that their sister team AlphaTauri have in abundance and have had in abundance all season long, but with both Pierre Gasly and Sergio Sette once again eyeing up a podium spot, it won't be too difficult to see the Italian team up there on the rostrum once again this season. Alfa Romeo, though, despite the engine nerf, we're looking mighty, although they're having to run even lower drag and even what they were describing as 0-0 wings to try and get the cars through the corners to maximise straight line speed due to the recent loss of Ferrari engine power. This is proving difficult for Terry to manage on the harder compound tyres. Through Pit 1 in practice 2, he loses the car in spectacular fashion, but just about managed to avoid the barriers, but would have to put on a sizable amount more downforce to get the car through the corners, sacrificing that all-important straight line speed. Aston Martin, though, an outside shot for points at come race day. The Pink Panthers car is notoriously slippery in a straight line, so even if they get knocked out in Q1 once again, as they have done for most times this season, it wouldn't be too much surprise to see them making their way through the order throughout the race. Hey guys, Renault here. Welcome back to Formula 1. We're here for the Belgian Grand Prix in the blistering sunshine here in the mountains, although this track does have its own microclimate, so don't be surprised if it starts raining suddenly throughout the formation lap. You've got Nicholas Latifi there, down in P15. The Honda engine is looking to suffer a little bit around the circuit, especially with Williams and Red Bull. Not so much for AlphaTauri with the low drag car that they've designed for this season. On the front row there, you can see you've got an Alfa Romeo there on pole position. Maybe we've got Esteban Ocon there in P6, so better qualifying for the Frenchman that he's had as of late. And if he wants to back up Renault and Alonso's title bid, he's going to need a few more performances like that as the season goes on. And Ferrari, they're going to need a miracle. You see there, Charles Leclerc is on the back row of the grid, as are both of the Ferraris actually, you see there from the back. And now then, onto the formation lap, it's Kevin Magnussen who takes pole position. Once again, the Dane coming alive on low fuel, with Mick Schumacher completing the front row on circuit where he got his first Grand Prix win. Pierre Gasly starts from inside the podium places in P3, with Fernando Alonso lead Renault from P4. And completing the AlphaTauri and Renault trio, we have Sergio Sette in P5 and Esteban Ocon starting, as you saw, in P6. Josh Taylor having to put on more downforce, only managed 7th place in qualifying, ahead of the lead Red Bull of Max Verstappen. And it's the two Toyotas of Lewis Hamilton and Nobuharu Matsushita running off the top 10. Lando Norris couldn't match the pace of his teammate, getting knocked out in Q2, starting from P11. He starts alongside good friend and fellow F2 graduate, Alex Albon. Daniel Kvyat starts from just outside the point places from P13, ahead of the lead, and both of the Williams actually, of Nico Hülkenberg and Nicholas Latifi. George Russell makes it a Williams sandwich there, starting from P16 out in Q1, ahead of the Aston Martin pairing of Lawrence Stroll and Sergio Perez. On the back row of the grid, suffering even more from the engine nerf they suffered a couple of races ago back in Britain. It's an old Ferrari back row of the grid, with Rio Haryanto P19 and Charles Leclerc, Ferrari's star driver, lining up stone dead last. Unless they've done something miracle-wise for a setup, it's going to be another long afternoon for the team in red, and even more so for their base back at Maranello. The Aston Martins are looking at there now. They could have been outside shot for points. They've gone for more of a race pace setup. And those cars are really fast in a straight line anyway, so won't be too surprised to see them making a way through the order as the race goes on. Looking back at us now, starting in P7. It's an okay position, but we were ahead of Verstappen, but we were behind Alonso, so that's the main thing for us in this race, is to beat Alonso. They come down to the 5 red lights for the start of the Grand Prix. It's a long hold. Now then, lights out, and away we go. It's Rigo there from Kevin Magnussen, who goes aggressive there to cover off Mick Schumacher, doing what his father done. Race starts when he raced back for Ferrari. And through turn one, looks like everyone's going to get a little bit cleaner. There's a bit of a three-way moment there with ourselves, one of the AlphaTauris and one of the runners there, Esteban Ocon, now going side by side. You've got Gasly and Ocon, these two. Well documented though, they don't really like each other, but going to keep it civil now through Rouge, side by side, still keeping around the side. Oh, so close to contact there, almost getting forced off the track. Ocon and Gasly there, seeing no love lost there between these two once again. Now it's going to be a drag race now down down the camel straight here, now down into the chicane. We're side by side with the AlphaTauri with immense speed now on the inside line, but Ocon's going to try and hoy around the outside line, which then turns to the inside line for the next corner, but once again then turns to the outside line to look at his teammates. Just Seti Kamaru behind, getting a good run now. He's going to try and gain the no. Got Ocon looking at the inside line, got Gazzy there still trying to find a way through there. With this line, but Ocon there still trying to find his way through back on the inside line. Not quite close there to make a move. You know, Gasly there still just about managing to hold on to that position, although he's lost that massive look, and they've lost so much time after those three up in front already. Lost maybe, what, 3-4 seconds, maybe even more, with how much they're holding each other up. But still, Kevin Magnussen leading the way ahead of the McLaren there, Mick Schumacher. Remember that McLaren hasn't been upgraded and can't be upgraded since the start of the season, and they're still using last season's Renault engine, their badge just vibed with a sponsorship deal. And they're not going to be, and I'm pretty sure Renault are not going to be too happy about following a last year's spec car when you think that they've built something that's even better. Well, it's not the first time McLaren have used a year's previous car and still might manage to make it a lot better like they did in 2002 to 2003. Then further back, you still got Pierre Gasly leading this whole queue of cars, pretty much the second half of the grid. They've got all the midfield here. Where this queue goes back to at the end here of the first lap now into the bus stop chicane for the first time in this race. And everything goes okay through there. Everything, no dramas through there so far. Although we've seen a few massive dives there, especially in the former series last week. Got Felipe Drugovich making moves left, right, and centre to try and get past was it Ruvler and his countryman Guilherme Samaia and Dan Ticktum on the final lap. You got these two Toyotas. You would think around a power track would be doing a little bit better than what they are, although they still seem to be suffering a little bit from the engine issues. They've had a very yo-yo season. They've either been retiring or they've been winning the race. They've not really had an in-between so far, and it's been Lewis Hamilton mainly who's had all the mechanical issues go to him so far. And Hamilton now gaining on the back of ourselves now without the DRS here. This can be pure station because there's going to be no DRS now until the next lap of the race. And he's going to pull to the inside line. So he's going to think about making a move now. Fellow Brit, our championship rival from last season, led the championship pretty much all the way until the end of the final race where things just fell apart. For the Brit, I don't think he's really recovered, and Toyota definitely haven't recovered since. And now in a bit further on, you've got Mick Schumacher now starting to come under pressure then from Fernando Alonso. So it's a good start to the race for the German, the 2019 world champion. Managed to keep himself ahead there of the three-time world champion in 2005, 06 and 2018. And up over Rouge now then. Once again, Alonso losing a little bit in the dirty there, but that's to be expected because these cars can't really follow all too closely, even with the lesser aero that they have now. And then Alonso there with the DRS, and Schumacher goes defensive, but Alonso's going to go and run the outside line steam past there. Renault engine versus Vibe Renault engine. And into the next chicane is easily clear there. Ultimately, Schumacher could have sent one back to the inside line, but wasn't quite close enough. And now Ocon finally manages to make a move on Pierre Gasly. It seems with the straight line speed those cars have, maybe suffering a little bit in terms of tyre wear. Further behind now, we've got ourselves now coming under pressure from one of the rebels here. Max Verstappen is now looking to come getting involved in this race now. The Dutchman had a little bit of time to get involved, but the Red Bull really not suited to this track, or Italy really. So there's a few races that the cars don't suit, but like when Mercedes don't usually build a car to suit Monaco, they build it to try and suit the other tracks. Red Bull just have to sacrifice the straight line speed circuit because it doesn't suit the philosophy of the car that Adrian Newey has designed, and never really has since Red Bull became the powerhouse that they've become ever since really 2009, 2010 onwards. Now, on to lap 6, we're down in P8 still. We've managed to keep ahead of Norris and now managed to make a move on Max Verstappen, so Norris starting to find a little bit of pace now in this race. We're getting now back in the station. We're running in race. He's got a lot of fuel saved up. I intentionally put a lot of fuel in the cars. Can we having to run rich? Because we've got a little bit more aero on the car than what I'd advise. A lot more than what K-Mag's having to have on his car. Because I just couldn't keep it through the corners. I mean, I was alright on the softer combat. There's a bit of a lock on there from Lewis Hamilton now, feeling the pressure and trying to go around the outside line. You get a little bit of contact there with our fellow countryman. And he just manages to put himself now back in front now. We've got DRS now going down now into turn 1 into the hairpin where Grosjean went over the top of Hamilton a couple of years ago. And Fernando Alonso. And they're making moves around the outside line. We're going to keep it there. We got Hamilton there just about managed to force that while you got it's an all British battle now. We've got Hamilton ahead of Ourselves, ahead of Norris. And then you've got the Thai Brit of Alex Albon there behind. Hamilton though still just about managed to hold on through a ridge all over the back though. Although Toyota, we're finding some pace now. Looks like the tyres now starting to come back to us now. The pace is starting to come good for us now. And now we're side by side with Lewis Hamilton and Toyota have been notoriously bad on their tyres since they've rejoined Formula 1. They was alright a couple of seasons ago, but ever since they managed to bring a massive engine upgrade, they just haven't been able to keep up with the aero and tyre wear side of things. So they definitely focus more on the engine than what they have on the aero. He managed to make a move, and so does Norris as well. So Hamilton, he gained a place a couple of laps ago, and then just lost 2 on one straight, which you think should be where his Toyota is strong. So once again, maybe those issues are starting to come in once again. They've not even seen Matsushita. I don't know why he's even still in the race, but he's still got 20 cars going. I have no idea where Matsushita is though. He's run out a little bit while they're still struggling a little to keep the car on the track, trying to throw the car through pole on as much as you can. because you've got more downforce on the car than ideally what I would have liked. So through the corners, this is where we need to make the advantage work. Now then, onto the end of last 7 now. We've got Lando Norris still right in our DRS now. Well, it would be if this was the DRS straight. We've got the Alpha Tauri's there doing battle in front. We've got a few cars coming to the pits. Now, now we're going to be following them in now into this very awkward pit lanes for what should be our one and only stop of the race. I'm not planning on making this a 2-stop, but if you get a late race safety car, you never know. Although with how difficult it is to make up places, a 2-stop around here really isn't a viable strategy, but you never know. Just have to see how things go later on. And with this place having its own microclimate, it could start raining in 5 minutes anyway. You never really know around the circuit. It's pretty much like, in a way, like when we used to race in Malaysia, when it would just start raining. That's pretty much what it does here, but only like around half the track or something. And then we're going to re-jump back onto the track. Are we going to get out there ahead of the Ferraris, the slowest cars on the grid? Our engine customers, I mean, aggressively cut in front there. I shall look at that. That is a crucial move for us, because those Ferraris were over 2 seconds off the eventual pole time. Like, of course, in Q3, everything's turned up a little bit. But the Ferraris to be over 2 seconds off and be on the back row of the grid, they've got a lot of work to do to build anywhere near a competitive car for next season. But Leclerc, though, to be fair, with the DRS, can try and come back at us, so there's a little bit of pace in those Ferraris. Maybe there is signs of life yet for the red team, but it's not really manifesting itself into anything so far this weekend. And you've got, up in front, you've got Pierre Gasly on the set of the hard tyres. So AlphaTauri having to go for that lower drag centre, winning that podium, maybe even sacrificing a little bit of tyre wear. Now they're moving a bit further on from that. Up front, you've still got our teammate Kevin Magnussen. He's still on the same lap of the race, but just up front, because we paid a lap first, because with K-Mag leading the way, he gets first corner strategy. He's feeling good there out there on his tyres. He's got a big gap there over Alonso behind. He's running in a net P2. Don't know if that's actual second place or not, but these two should be pitting then at the end of this lap. Okay, Mazin, can he get himself through this pit lane alright? Yes, he does. Gets it all good and fine through there. But Alonso goes even longer on this set of tyres. Okay, so Renault then trying something different. I mean, they usually go a bit aggressive on their strategy, but now they're going aggressive the other way, leaving Alonso out now on those tyres to go more laps, to have more tyres to fight with at the end of the race, maybe even thinking that Ocon or anyone else maybe get stuck in traffic. So if Alonso's the last one to pit, then everyone else is already pit, so you can't get stuck in traffic. But K-Mag there with a clear pit stop from Alfa Romeo, going to come back out now then onto the track. Is he going to come out then ahead of that Mercedes car? He's going to need to. Going to be side by side though with Daniel Kvyat. He's not PDA, so the DAS system maybe is actually working for once on that Mercedes. Once in a blue moon, that the DAS system actually makes it different to the Mercedes cars, but they have suffered as a detriment of trying, just insisting to get that system to work when it really, throughout the seasons, just kind of hasn't. We've got the DRS though for Daniel Kvyat, so being stood behind K-Mag, actually he's doing him a favour, because he's going to be pulling him along now and helping get an eventual overcut on the cars he was fighting against. So that would be like the Williams, the Aston Martins here, who also haven't pit yet either. So once again, a few cars trying to make their own trend. And you've got Mick Schumacher there on a set of the hard sides. This will be who Alonso is trying to overcut now, especially because you've got Ocon there on a set of mediums now, going to the end of the race. So once again, Renault once again playing the aggressive strategy call. Now you've got both the Alpha Tauri now doing that. You've got Sergio Sette going side by side then with Pierre Gasly through the corners with no name now through Speaker's corner. And you've got Gasly there, still just about much a holding from his teammate, but then you've got us behind us there with medium size as well. The Alpha Tauri, they're holding themselves up a treat now for us. And they're going to find a way to the inside line. We know we've got Sergio Sette tries to hold it around the outside line. A brilliant move there, ballsy move there from the Brazilian. But there's just nowhere through they can make that move stick. And I guess he's still behind his teammate now through this middle section of the lap, which is pretty much the only technical sector of the lap. And we're being held up that much. We've got Lando Norris now who's woken up in this race, starting to get involved now. Getting up here right behind us now. And we come down now through the back sector of the lap. We've got the Alpha Tauri with the main straight line speed. You've got ourselves with not so great straight line speed, and the McLaren I think somewhere in the middle of all of that. But me and Norris though, we're going to have better grip with our medium tyres. Now these we keep finding once again. This is exactly what we're going to need. Here's Sergio Sette going to go for another move on his teammate now. Launch another assault into the bus stop chicane. Not quite close to there to make a move on the Frenchman. Of course, these two may be battling for a future Red Bull seat next season, and especially with the spotlight on them, they need to make all the moves that they can to try and defend from each other, but they're just costing themselves time here. Now we're going to have a little look to the inside line of Sette Câmara, and not quite close there to make a move on the 2019 Formula 2 champion. Now then, it's going to be about the run now, up Eau Rouge, and then down the back straight. That's where we're going to next try and make an overtake move. We pulled away a little bit from Norris, so maybe Nando's size there starting to go off a little bit already. And now we're all over the back here of Sergio Sette Câmara. In the Alpha Tauri, we've got DRS wide open, but we're sure Sette Câmara has also got his DRS open as well, but now we're going to pull to the inside line. Obviously, he gets side by side, almost sideswiping, banging wheels at 200 plus miles an hour. And into this game, we mount the curb aggressively. We give him space, we give him the respect that we need to. We managed to make the move on the Brazilian, so he goes from trying to make an overtake on his teammate to getting overtaken by himself. He's not getting all this, fighting back now on the inside line into the corner with no name. not quite close enough there to make a move. This is a very awkward corner. Run out wide, just try to get a better exit as well. Leaving space on the inside line. Sergio trying to make a move there, back up the inside line. And hopefully that should be as clear now. With the grippy ties here through the middle sector now, coming out through Pilmer, going to throw the car once again through this massive left-hander. One of my favourite corners, probably my favourite corner on the circuit. If you can get a good line, it's just such a rewarding corner, so satisfying as well. But completely oblivious to all this is our teammate K-Mag leading the Grand Prix. He's also on a set of hard sides. He's gone conservative. You've got Alonso who's pitting out on a set of medium, so Renault going aggressive. We've seen other teams go for a set of medium size, and they're much like what they're seeing on the data. As it's currently a Renault 2-3, and it's not been that way for a while now. You've got Mick Schumacher there on the hard side. It's starting to fall away a little bit, so maybe McLaren went a little bit more for a qualifying setup, focusing for better pace on the softer compounds over the hard. And you've got Pierre Gasly now then in the AlphaTauri. He's going to try and line up soon a move on the 2019 Drivers' World Champion. Won the championship back in Williams BMW before moving to McLaren last season. For this season, now getting on the back now with the solution, going to try and make a move on the McLaren into the braking zone into bus stop. She's getting not quite closer there. Gasly looking fired up now. Sees that battle with his teammates, reinvigorated, re-energised. The Frenchman now try and make a move on the McLaren and then try and chase after Esteban Ocon, try and get himself back on that podium. On the run now down into turn 1, and Gasly is getting on the back, but I don't think he's quite close enough to make a move into turn 1, not quite this time round. And the more these keep battling, the more this is going to allow ourselves. You've got Sergio Camara, you've got Norris, actually got quite a few cars, you've got Verstappen in there as well, the Toyotas as well, so we've got quite a few cars that go side by side actually in front of us now. Gasly going around the outside line of Mick Schumacher, still keeping it side by side. Where do you get that speed from? Still keeping it side by side now with the DRS. Beautiful move there from Pierre Gasly. Maybe even overtake of the season so far, if not the whole season from there. Run the outside line, reminiscent of Webber and Alonso from 2011. Run the outside line, absolutely fearless move there from Pierre Gasly. And that's going to get people noticing him. And if maybe even getting him a re-promotion back to Red Bull for next season. And we've got a teammate, his teammate still, Sergio Camara still running behind him. And then we've got Norris, then Verstappen, then the two Toyotas, and Matsushita. He's finally, we found him once again. The Toyotas getting himself now back into this fight. They're still inside the top 10. And with his Kiwi cars, they're still eyeing up a potential top 5 if their cars are reliable enough. I can get to the end of the race. So we've got the 44 there of Lewis Hamilton still leading his teammate Matsushita. Matsushita, he's had the better reliability, but I would say Hamilton overall's had the better pace so far. So it's even out anyway between the two of them. And then behind them we've got Alex Albon on a set of medium size as well. So Albon's starting to bring himself now back into play. And also a set of mediums, you've got the lead Mercedes there of George Russell coming out of nowhere. So they're leading the midfield pack there ahead. Then of one of the Aston Martins. Can't quite see which one that is on that camera, but one of the Aston Martins, they actually got both of them there on the medium side. So I'll say they're focusing better on race pace, definitely putting a better performance than as of late. And you've got Hulkenberg there, also on a set of medium tyres. Not having the best race pace in the world. And then we've got Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari ahead then of his teammate Rio Haryanto, also on a set there of the medium tyres. And then way behind everyone else. Not sure what's happened to him. Not sure if you have to make any pit stop. He's got some sort of mechanical issue. You've got Nicholas Latifi there, way behind everyone else. And then back in front to this fight now. The fight for fourth place, you've got Pierre Gasly now pulling away then from Mick Schumacher. And Schumacher now starting to fall now into the clutches of ourselves and the cars behind. And Schumacher now is definitely struggling for pace. Now they're going to have the DRS now down the camera straight on the back of our championship rival from a couple of seasons ago. We've made contact a few times, but we've had very close battles already so far. Enough short time in Formula 1. Now side by side now, Schumacher goes defensively to the inside line. We're going to try to hold it around the outside line, almost make contact there like Rosberg and Hamilton did in real life back in 2014. We managed to keep it clean, keep it respectful within ourselves. But side by side, you've got Sergio Camara having to go defensive from the other McLaren now, so the McLaren is starting to come alive now in this race. Was it maybe they just found something on the lower fuel? Maybe they went for more of a race setup than qualifying as well. Whereas one McLaren tries to go forward, the other one seems to be going backwards a little bit. Now, onto lap 13, we've gone purple through sector 1, although we're down on sector 2 because we're stuck here following the back of Mick Schumacher. Running in Ridgewood, you've got plenty of fuel, got plenty of ERA to play as well, got a lot of fuel saved up, but we've still got like half the race left to go, so can't go around batting on before they lose a little bit on the curve. That could have been nasty. But now then into the bus stop chicane, over close to try and make a move on Mick Schumacher. We're going to think about making a move, then we go very late on the brakes, trying to scare him out of the corner. As Fernando Alonso puts up the fastest lap of the race, though. The Spaniard there really pushing now, trying to catch up to our teammate Kevin Magnussen. But now then, we put up our personal best lap of the race so far. A 10th and a half up, but it could have been better, but we're still stuck in this queue of cars. And in a way, Pierre Gasly now starting to fall back into the clutches actually of Mick Schumacher. Once again, using the ERS now, trying to get a launch off this corner, trying to build momentum now, trying to build speed up, coming to cut up now. Eau Rouge for the 40th time in this race, the car's absolutely planted there through one of the most high-speed corners on the F1 calendar. And then we've got the DRS now, but Shimi also has the DRS. We've got the overspeed as well, not even using DRS now at this point. And we're making a good defensive there to the inside. Going to give it side by side now into the break zone. Going to give it side by side. There's a little bit of contact. There's a wee bit of contact with the side pod. And we lost a bit of a front wing. We made the move still there on Mick Schumacher. We've forced our way through. But now we've got damage. We've got to carry damage out for 8 laps of the race. We've got big damage there to our front wing. That's going to affect us now through all the corners that it's not on. So every left-hander now, we're going to understeer massively through. And guess what? We've got a left-hander here. Then we've got a left-hander coming up a P1 as well. But crucially for us, our tyres are still fresh at the moment, so we're going to have to try and use that to our advantage. See, we're running out wide a little bit there, but it felt okay. It felt alright. The understeer was there. We're real pulling away from Shumi, so I don't know if he's got some sort of side pod, some sort of floor damage from that contact. Yes, 2 into 1, really doesn't go. We try to give him a squeeze all over the circuit there once again. These left-handers are going to be a nightmare now. We've driven the car one way for 14 laps. Now it's a little bit different. We've got a lot less front downforce. And as you saw, remember from the practice report, when this car had less downforce, no matter where it was, I couldn't really get this car through the corners. But now moving further on, we're still holding position so far, holding ourselves here ahead of the McLaren pairing of Mick Schumacher. Then we've got Lando Norris now. We managed to finally make a move on the AlphaTauri of Sergio Camara. Now then, does Shumi have damage? Are there going to be team orders to switch position? Because Norris is on the faster tyres as well, so it makes sense to switch them at this point. And Shumi goes defensive to the inside. Norris with the DRS. But no, he's going to try and make a move, makes it easy there. Shumi backs off that one. That must have been team orders. They must know that I am walking, well, racing wounded right now. And if Shimi's in the same boat as me, there's no point in holding up his teammate who's on a different strategy on a faster compound of tyres anyway, who's probably going to get past in the meantime, even if both cars had the same condition. But Shimi, everything's going onto those hard tyres, has just been going backwards anyway, so whatever they did with the setup isn't working too well. There we go, got a battle now. Got Max Verstappen now coming under pressure then from Matsushita. To make sure they can move on Hamilton now, because they can move on Verstappen as well. Side by side here through P1. It'd be so by side. It's a brilliant move there from Matsushita. We've got Verstappen there. We know he never gives up. We can try and fight it there around the outside line. Coming up now. They're going to try to make him back inside, goes for a dive when he tries to keep those in. He does keep the nose in, a little bit of contact made. Verstappen, 3 Matsushita, ran the outside. Verstappen though, still got his nose in on the inside line. Once again, lay on the brakes, trying to hold it through up the inside line. But Matsushita with the outside line has the racing line. And manages to hold it through, that's going to compromise his run there down this straight. And you've got Hamilton now trying to make a move on Max Verstappen. You've got to lose 2 places here. You've got his teammate Alex Albon here getting involved as well. And Albon, LD3, is on the medium side, so he should be the fastest of these 3 cars. And you've got Verstappen now defending there from Lewis Hamilton now. Into the bus stop chicane, he's going to go for a dive back on Matsushita. Not quite. Matsushita has to go defensive as well. Could Verstappen, because we know what Verstappen's like. If there's any chance, if there's not even a chance of making a move, Verstappen will find a way to make that move. Hamilton now, he's going to make a move on Verstappen down into turn 1. Verstappen with the inside line and the DRS as well. And I think just had the better line there out that final chicane. And Verstappen manages to hold on to that position. And now we've got Toyota Red Bull now in this battle now. Only for the minor places inside the points, but points mean prizes at the end of the season. The points that these teams gain or lose now could mean the difference between gaining or losing a place at the end of the final race. But now then, once again, Hamilton with the DRS, but I think Verstappen still just about manages to have DRS as well from Matsushita. Is definitely pulling away now, so Nobby's definitely working on this race. He was nowhere at the start, but he's definitely found some pace now then as the race goes on. Proving why he's already a multiple race winner this season. He won at Monaco, and he won at Austria as well. That one, he looked into the win there, but you got to get the car to finish. You got to be first to finish. But first of all, you got to finish the race. That's exactly what he did, proving his credentials now as a multiple race winner. But moving a bit further on, Norris is now coming back under pressure from Mick Schumacher. He's going to make a move back up the inside line. So even if there was team orders, Schumacher's not listening. Maybe Norris wore out his tyres a little bit too much, trying to push too hard to catch up to us in the first place. Or maybe it was just switch positions for now, see how things go, then switch back later on if things didn't change. Because they've got a gap behind. They've got a good gap over the AlphaTauri there, Sergio Camara. So there's nothing to gain up in front and nothing to lose behind. So it makes sense just to switch the cars back around to where they were. Although with not much race left to go, and with the damage we've got, Mick Schumacher now, if he's managed to find a way to drive around his damage as well, on the harder compound of tyres, this is where the harder compound will start to come in a little bit more over the medium, because both compounds will get no issue to the end of the race. There's no issue about that, but the harder tyres will just have more life in them, because they're a harder compound of tyres anyway, so we'll have... So as the stint goes on, we'll become the grippier tyres in a way, even though they spend the rest of the stint not being the grippier tyres. And then behind this queue, we've still got George Russell there in the Mercedes, still doing the best he can on the medium tyres, maybe trying to catch up to the queue cars in front. He's ahead then of the pink Mercedes, still the lead one there of Sergio Perez there on the set of the medium tyres. But now then, moving on towards the end of the race, we've got Mick Schumacher now catching right up to us now. So whatever Schumi's done to try and find around this damage, Pierre Gasly now out of nowhere steals the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's on a push for that podium place. He's a little bit behind Esteban Ocon. We've seen that in a minute, but he's within DRS range. He's got realistically, he's got one opportunity down this Canberra straight into the chicane to try and make a move. And really, that's what Schumi's got as well. Unless we absolutely fall off the track somewhere with our damage. But now we're deploying the battery now, deploying everything we can. We've got guys now getting on Esteban Ocon. With the direct going to go around the outside line of his fellow countrymen now. These two are on friends, on track or off track, but they're going to keep it respectful now. And Gasly makes the move stick that he sweeps round Esteban Ocon and steals back the podium place. Gasly there coming alive at the end of the race. Now AlphaTauri is so quick in a straight line. He's managed his tyres to perfection. And Gasly he's come on good once again. He came on strong towards the end of last season. I think just the demotion back to Red Bull really did knock his confidence, and then being beat by Seti Kamara didn't really get comfortable with the car until the end of the season. But he's showing now why Red Bull still have faith in him, and he's showing that good now. They got Alonso there, still in P2. He hasn't actually been able to catch our teammate Kevin Magnussen, so as I was saying, I think the tide has shifted once again. So now once again, everyone who's on the harder compound of tyres has the better pace now at this point. But Magnussen, he's had some good success around here. He may have won it last season as well when Alfa Romeo got their first 1-2 since their return. So he's got fond memories around this circuit, and this is a good confidence boost for Alfa Romeo as well, showing that with the chassis and aero work that we're doing, we still got a competitive car, and Alfa Romeo are still well within this title fight. We're leading the constructors for a reason. Up to the line, Kevin Magnussen, he wins the Belgian Grand Prix, and that is a statement win, both for the Dane and for our team Alfa Romeo.
Checkered flag. Man, those laps are amazing. Awesome, Kevin. Awesome.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
What a race driver, dude. That was awesome. Those laps at the end were amazing. Amazing.
Thanks, guys. We can do it. We can do it.
You are an awesome racer. Those laps were perfect. You managed everything. Awesome race.
And thanks, man. You did amazing. I had everything I needed, man. I want to kiss you. I want to kiss you, man.
Bring it, bring it.
Thanks, Kev. That was great. You know, you deserve that. Everyone deserved that. Thanks a lot. Great job.
Thanks, Ayao. Well deserved for everyone.
Thank you, guys. I mean, this is like a win. We needed this. Thanks, guys. Keep it up. Keep it up, guys. We do more of this.
It wasn't just like a win, that was the win. The maximum points apart from the fastest lap, but Alex Albon scrapes a point there in P12, but still not the race that he or Red Bull were looking for. Now then, out of the podium, K-Mag once again is going to stand on the top of that, on that top there once again here, in the Belgian Grand Prix, becoming the new King of Spa. He's got a couple wins under his belt, and now for the champagne! The Alonso there in P2, getting crucial points back on us once again, increasing that standing lead that he's got. But good points for Alfa Romeo, good points for Renault, and a good morale boost for AlphaTauri. Taking a look at the end results, and Kevin Magnussen, after 40 minutes of racing, takes the win 2 seconds clear of Alonso, with Pierre Gasly holding onto that fastest lap, taking the point that goes with it, to get a podium, again for AlphaTauri. Esteban Ocon finishes in P4, his best result for a while. Ahead of ourselves in P5, just holding off the McLarens of Mick Schumacher and Lando Norris. Sergio Seti Kamara in P8 ahead of Matsushita. And then the Red Bulls sandwiching Lewis Hamilton, with Verstappen in 10th, Hamilton in P11, and Alex Albon, as you saw, rounding off the points in 12th. And with that podium finish, Alonso increases his lead in the standings. He's now 8 points clear of ourselves, and we've got quite the gap back now. It really is starting to become a 2-horse race, with Mick Schumacher down to 3rd. With Verstappen and Kevin Magnussen both on the climb up now into P4 and P5, with Matsushita dropping down into P6. Norris gets himself up now into 7th place, as having definitely coming on better now as the season progresses. And then Esteban Ocon, who remains in P8, and is now 12 points clear of the driver who beat him to the podium, Pierre Gasly. And Gasly now finally gets ahead of his teammate Sergio Seti Kamara, with Lewis Hamilton getting up into 11th place, joint on points with Alex Albon, who drops down to 12th. Not much change in the constructors standings, as Alfa Romeo still leads the way on nearly 300 points. 21 points clear of Renault. And in 3rd place, McLaren still look fairly secure, still I'd say within a shout of the constructors, if not the drivers. And we've got Red Bull still in P4, not looking as comfortable as they were a couple of races ago. with Toyota starting to build a little bit of momentum in 5th place, and AlphaTauri they're still in with a shout trying to secure that P4 and do what they did back in 2008 and beat the more senior team. Mercedes still are in a world of their own in 7th place on 71 points, with more than double the points of Aston Martin. With Williams in P9 on 25 points, 4 points clear Ferrari, who's doubling up the rear in 10th on 21. So that's been the Belgian Grand Prix. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any future videos, which will be on a Monday and Friday for definite. Wednesdays if I can, but I do work full time, so I can't guarantee 3 videos a week. And as you've seen here, select Saturdays for Formula 1 and Formula 2 action. There'll be links in the description to my Twitter and Instagram, so I'd appreciate if you give me a follow on there, so there'll be updates when videos are released, or any updates I need to make in general, or anything I want to post about, anything that I think would be interesting to share. And talking of links, in the description there'll be a link to my Wikia, which is basically fandom Wikipedia. For this series, I've made one since I started it back in 2014, so there's 8 seasons of this. I made one for every team, every driver to have competed from 2014 up to now. There's about 80 pages or so, and it's been a lot of work and continues to be a lot of work to update after each race. I'd appreciate it if you can go and check that out, give that a read. And maybe even pretty soon, as we're getting towards the silly season, maybe even be a sneak peek of things that are to come up yet in the future for next season with the all new regulation changes coming in. Also, vote for your driver of the day with the poll link that'll be in the video description. So that's where I'm going to leave things for today. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.